Welcome to the Scene of the Grime. I'm your host, Seek Millie. I'm here with my boy 27. What you saying, bro?
Wagwan people, I do apologise for my squeaky chair in advance because it is super squeaky. If you're watching the video, you'll be able to see me very rigid because I'm going to try not to squeak my chair.
Yeah, I'm going to try and do the same. We need some WD-40 up in the place.
Straight noobs out here.
Yeah, so welcome to the show. The beat you just heard was produced by 27, one of the best producers in the UK, may I say, if you don't mind. So where do we start? So before we get onto the music and exactly what we're doing here, let's discuss why we're here. We hear a lot of opinions from artists, MCs, producers, pundits, different people who are involved in the game, but I feel like we want to come at this from a different angle, just purely from a fan's perspective. So
no means any experts.
Yeah, absolutely not. Obviously, we've been researching the tracks and that kind of stuff that we're going to be talking about, but a lot of it is just purely from our own knowledge. So so it's good.
So don't come at us with, you guys ain't from London, man. What are you talking about?
No, give us your opinions though. That's cool. You can give us your opinions. Opinion. Yeah.
Entitlement.
The tracks that we're going to be going through today. They're purely from my own perspective of the tracks that really got me into grime. Dizzee tweeted out recently and said about how, if you think grime started with I Love You and Eskimo, I Feel Sorry For You.
The thing is, with debates like that, man, you're never going to get to the bottom of it.
No, it's different.
It's just purely based on opinion, so everyone's got their own, so we're just giving ours at the end of the day.
Well, I feel it's important to do it because the last 10 years is where we've started listening to grime, and now grime has really come into the forefront. It's really the kind of main. It's been compared to punk. This generation's kind of music,
culture, and big culture.
Absolutely, and I just feel like we need to get to the history. Like a true story. What really made me want to do this is, in my day job. I was talking to a guy that I work with, 19 years old, talking about PSG when they signed Neymar. He doesn't really know a lot about football, and he said, they've just signed Neymar. Like, who else have they got? And I said, yeah, they got Cavani, they got Thiago Silva. And he was like, oh, Thiago Silva's a good tuner. Have you heard that tune? I was like, yeah. Did you know it was an old beat? He's like, no. I had to tell him, like, it was produced by Rapid. Do you know what I mean? It's Pipe. I showed him the original.
That's what we're missing, is the education behind it all.
Real talk.
And it's not quite important.
It's not the generation's fault. Do you know what I mean? It's not their fault. They haven't had... they weren't there, essentially, unless you, which you've said before, unless you had an older brother like we both had, that showed us a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's like you look up to your older brothers. You try and be you try and get into what they're into.
Exactly. My brother was listening to grime from early.
Likewise.
And then it got to the point where even I sort of started to show him stuff. And when you start overtaking, have you heard this?
Good
and then
feeling, isn't it?
all your absolutely. And
got me so gassed. Like, brother, you heard this tune? No, I haven't. It's bang.
Yes, you know that. Yeah. Please holler at us as well with just opinions.
Yeah, if we miss anything,
100%.
Because it's going to be on YouTube as well. Just
all day.
Give us some what's the word? Not communication. Feedback, interaction.
All day,
That's what we're looking for, interaction.
The email address is TSOG, that's the Scene of the Grime, obviously, TSOGPodcast@gmail.com. So that's TSOGPodcast@gmail.com. The Twitter is @TSOGPodcast. Obviously, we've got the YouTube channel. So there were numerous ways in which, we could approach doing this, what we want to talk about. Do we want to talk about the scene in general, which we do, but the history is really, really important to us. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back chronologically. I'm going to start, with 2001 essentially to 2003 on this episode. After this, we've got episode 2, which will be 2004, and then 5, 6, 7 consecutively up until present day. And the bangers will just continue. I'm sure we'll have more tracks to talk about.
You just got to keep watching, see what happens once the years are up. Simple.
More music coming out, So, in my opinion, as I say, there's no right or wrong answer to this. This is purely from me and 27's standpoint, because we grew up together, we listened to the same stuff. And to be honest, if you really want to start talking about grime, in my opinion, there's only one real place you can start.
I got 21 seconds to go. I got 21 seconds to go. Cause if you like me, let me know. Let me in the studio. I got 21 seconds before I got to go.
When this comes on in a club now, it still goes off.
Banger for days. Timeless.
Absolutely.
Bang, 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 bang.
The original movement of UK urban music going mainstream was this track. You have to remember as well, this track got to number 1. It got to number 1 in the charts.
I didn't know that.
It got to number 1 in the charts. They were on top of the pops. You remember that?
I remember them on top of the pops.
And it was the first time that the UK had really saw like a representation of themselves on TV, in my opinion.
It's a big thing. It was weird to see it. let alone hear it. Like seeing all of those dudes on the stage, just keeping it like radio.
And girls, Lisa Mafia was up there, you know. So yeah, it was amazing. 21 Seconds was on the album They Don't Know. Talk to me about what this album was for you, and what this track was for you, really.
This album, again, going back to Older Brothers, I think my brother must have showed me it. So it reminds me of him. A lot of old music like that does remind me of him, because your brother shows you stuff
all day.
But yeah, it just reminds you of being, what was it, 2001?
It was, yeah.
So that's starting secondary school for us, which is crazy. Because we got into what, 2005, 6? It was when grime really popped through, right?
Yeah. I'd say 2004 is when, you know, Pow and that kind of stuff, which will be next episode. So keep your ears peeled to that. As the album itself, you know, it had Miss Dynamite on Envy.
So what's the album? They Don't Know, right?
They Don't Know was that album.
Yeah. Got that on vinyl still.
You know, have you got the interview? Have you got 21 Seconds on vinyl, or is it just the album?
I got the whole album, and then I've got They Don't Know the song on single vinyl as well.
That must be worth a bit.
I'll never get rid of that.
No.
The album's sick though, because the sleeves and you get all the info. Like it's proper like a intellectual piece. It just gives you all the info, lyrics, everything.
There's so many bangers on the album. Haters, so many haters. That's an absolute tune. Yeah, to They Don't Know, to Envy, to Oh No, to 21 Seconds.
That's a banger.
The music is absolutely timeless. But 21 Seconds for me was at the forefront. It was really the kind of the header for this album. And the main track started with Mega Man. He was originator, the founder of the whole crew. There's a little bit of discrepancy. They say MAC started So Solid or Mega started So Solid. Obviously, I don't really.
All kinds of worms, bruv.
I'm just gonna
stick to the fucking truth.
So that's cool. I'll take Getz's advice. I'll just stick to the truth that I know. And the way that Mega marketed So Solid was brilliant. From like the all black in the video to the TTs, to, you know, the leather look.
That video was mad, bruv.
When they were all on top of the pop as well, I think from memory, I'd have to go back and look at it, but I think they had that theme again, you know what I mean? All dressed in the same kind of thing.
Contact lenses, full stop, remind me of that video.
Keish on the chorus.
It just reminds me of that video. Whenever someone's talking about contact lenses or whatever, it's weird how little things like that can remind you of something so random.
They're stuck in your memory.
Yeah.
In regards to Mega Man, like, I wanted to say, because he's so associated with the business side of things and starting his business in his clothing line and that kind of stuff, what really doesn't get mentioned a lot is his MCing ability. His flow is mad, and no one's really had that flow. So when you know Mega Man comes on the track, you know it's Mega. When he did the track with Skepta, do you know what I mean?
Which is quite hard in a scene that is a lot of duplicates around.
Absolutely,
a lot of people sounding the same, and it's all about being original. And
it's true.
Definitely got that.
It's true. And yeah, second on the track, Asher D, known as obviously Ashley Waters, because he's gone on to acting. You've seen him in a few things. He's actually in Get Rich or Die Trying with 50. You remember that?
Dude in the wheelchair, right?
He got shot and stuff. Bullet Boy.
He's done big things, man.
He really has. Top Boy
was sick.
Top Boy was good with Kano as well. He started in The Bill and Holby and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he was in Another Hood, which is I love that film. You got a Jammer.
Fuck you, mum.
That's love that stuff. And yeah, also again, the same with Mega, because they go off in different avenues and they do so many different things. You forget about their MCing ability. And Asher had to flow was crazy. There's a track he did with Swiss, which is absolutely sick. It's called Finish Him. And then recently the new one with P Money as well.
We had that the other day. Huh?
It's absolute.
Yeah, that's a banger. They kept to that So Solid style, didn't they?
The flow, everything the same kind of similar thing. Double S actually on his latest mixtape did a really good kind of So Solid freestyle, which was absolute fire. Shout out to Double S, bro. Shout out to Double S. Another prominent member, Lisa Mafia, the first lady of So Solid. Now, she did big things afterwards as well. She had a solo career.
It's crazy how so many of them have such big afterlives of So Solid. From such a big group, it's hard for a lot. I get like one or two, but quite a lot of them did well, man. Yeah,
it just shows how good the crew actually was, because so many of them did so well afterwards. So the talent was definitely there. She was actually nominated for 3 Mobos. She was on Friday Night with John from Ross as well and that kind of stuff. So shout out to Lisa Mafia. Another lasting member of the crew, a lot of people forget as well, Harvey, MC Harvey.
I don't forget Harvey, bro.
Just like, again, what he did with his
reality
TV
show
presentation.
fiend, wasn't he?
Yeah. He actually won. He won the ITV show, The Game. Sorry, no, not ITV, Channel 4. He won that. It was like a.
Oh yeah, the athletic one. Yeah, I remember that.
That's the one.
Yeah,
That's
he
the
was
one.
sick at that.
But he did cheat on Alicia Dixon with Javine. You have to remember that. You have to. Do you know what I mean? So.
What's that? What colour card is that?
And the last member that obviously there's lots of members of So Solid, so I don't want to just list them all and go through and that kind of stuff. Shouts to So Solid, and if you were there, you know So Solid. If you don't, you need to go back and listen to the album.
Surely everyone knows So Solid, bro.
The last member to really get into detail about was Romeo. Can't forget about Romeo. My favourite verse on 21 Seconds on the track.
Smooth dude, isn't he? Smooth fucking dude.
Did the track with Christina Milian, It's All Gravy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's just tunes like that. They just remind you of being a kid for me. The video was jokes as well. Not as good as Christina Milian's Dip It Low video, but nothing stuff really.
Yeah.
Also on the track was MAC, Keish, as we mentioned, who's on the chorus, and Scat D. And like I said, there's just too many members of So Solid to go about in too much detail. But what they did for the scene was epic. And to talk about So Solid as well, just want to make this really, really clear as well, is that So Solid crew were part of a foundation that involved so many other people, like Pay As You Go, Heartless. Without those groups and without that kind of music, I don't think there would be any grime, and people from Wiley to Dizzee to everybody has said that.
Yeah. But you got to remember, people will keep saying, yeah, but without garage there wouldn't be this shit. But we can keep going back until people smashing rocks together, bruv.
Absolutely, it's true. Yeah,
we're starting at a point we not know everything about, but know enough about to give our opinions on, right?
We were there, yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, we like I said, there's a little bit of research and stuff involved and that kind of stuff, but we're just going from literally our childhood memories here. Moving on from So Solid crew, moving on from 21 Seconds. For me, if you want to go chronologically, I was stuttering a bit there, you can cut all that out.
I ain't cutting shit out, bro. This is natural.
As I said, Pay As You Go, Heartless and So Solid absolutely smashed it for the scene and started an absolute movement here in the UK. So salute, raise a glass for So Solid crew.
Oh yeah, that would have sounded sick. I'm going to put reverb on that.
Do that.
Oi, who's that bully for me? Oi, who's that bully for me? Oi, who's that bully for me? The one around back, I just don't give a damn about.
So moving on to this track now. For me personally, and this is real personal as it's based on my actual childhood, the only natural next song to move on to now is...
Your actual childhood?
Yeah, sorry.
As opposed to,
someone else's childhood.
Alright, we're talking actual here, yeah?
More Fire Crew, oi. Tell me about this song for you.
Again, got that on vinyl, bruv. I used to fucking ukrecordshop.com. I don't know if it's still around, but bruv, got some steals on there. Got like white label Eskimo. I got white label original Nutter drum and bass remix, like shit that.
Exclusive shit. I remember being in your room and like pretending we were doing a radio set, no one tuning in, you mixing, me on the mic, just 075, like just making up a mobile number.
Enter 0759, yeah, straight up.
When this song came out, like I say, was in school, at 12 years old, and just hearing this and just thinking, wow, I've never heard anything like it before. I remember Lethal's verse, the opening verse to this song.
But we didn't know Lethal as Lethal. Lethal was just like,
Lethal B, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like weird, isn't it?
It's crazy to
like
think what he's
Lethal's
done.
sick. And then now you think that's Lethal B. It's
Amazing.
mad, isn't it?
It's amazing. He always jokes about this video saying he had all chapped lips and that kind of shit, and do you know what I mean? He's always joking about it, but he has done so well. Lethal Bizzle is such a staple of the scene now, and rightly
This was
so.
before Battle with Wiley, though, right?
100%. Yeah, this was
got
before.
to be, innit?
This was before.
That's like my earliest memory of Lethal B as Lethal B. Like that battle.
Yeah, see, the thing is, so he was Lethal B throughout the whole of More Fire Crew, which we'll come on to, and then after it was Power where Lethal Bizzle came, Lethal the Bizzle Records started, and then
Records.
he clashed Wiley as Lethal Bizzle, just adding that the Bizzle part to it as well, just changed his persona and that kind of stuff, and he just, with the record label as well, did a lot of things. And yeah, I remember having conversations with people at school comparing More Fire Crew and So Solid. Like, what was better? And it was like, no, we can't. First of all, you can't really compare them because More Fire had a lot less members. But I do remember personally,
They were more grimy, man. Like
Yeah.
scattier and just all sorts. Eh?
this, yeah, absolutely.
That's taking an element from what we know, like So Solid, and just doing their own shit.
100%.
It was all about crews back in the day.
It was.
all about crews.
I preferred this tune to 21 for me.
Yeah.
I preferred it. 21 Seconds was a banger, but the riff is too much.
Too much.
It's too much. So the 3 members of More Fire Crew were Lethal Bizzle, Ozzy B and Nico. The music video was so old school. If you watch it now, like with Ozzy repping the Averex jacket, which was the bomb.
That's going back, isn't it?
Let's go back. But I mean, if you're still rocking that, fair play. Like, if you've continuously rocked stuff, that's,
There is some dusty wardrobes in London with a lot of that shit.
trust me,
Let's be real.
that's real talk.
Fubu, the lot.
That's real talk. I also feel like what you can see from this video as well is a really big staple of the grime video community. It's like, oh, do you know what? We need to film a grime video. Where can we go? Car
Car
park.
park, bro.
All day.
Abandoned building or car park. We've got 2 choices, bro. Or get all the mandem around us and we just do it.
I think I need a little car park jingle, like car park, for like a little, for every time there's a car park in the video, because there's going to be a lot.
Hold tight the next episode with the car park jingle.
So the single was on the album The More Fire Crew CV, which was released in 2003. I remember listening to the whole album, being blown away with tunes like Oi. Back Then was an absolute banger as well. And there was another track called Haters, which was a thing I remember because So Solid had the tune Haters and then More Fire Crew.
Whenever you say the song Haters, I just straight away comes into my head.
You do.
That's it.
But this is a banger. I
I don't think I can remember this song.
I would strongly recommend going back and listening to this album because it had East Connection.
This
on it.
show's going to educate me, bro.
There you go. That's what I'm here to do. They're still on YouTube as well, that tune. And I did just want to, like, obviously, shouts to Ozzy B, shouts to Nico. They were on Power as well. But it's only right if I just want to take a few minutes to talk about Lethal Bizzle and just what he's done for the scene and what he's done.
You used to be, well, you probably still are. You're like the biggest Lethal B fan I know.
I specifically remember talking with older brothers. I remember chatting with your brother and Swifty, Kez. We were talking.
Kez, yeah.
We were talking, and I remember when it might have been after Pow, but I remember repping Lethal Bizzle, and they were taking openly like, "What Lethal B?" Like, because he wasn't lyrical. They like the lyrical MCs and the quick, like lots of bars and that.
He
kind of
was
stuff.
like more of a gimmick though. I think.
Catchy tunes.
Yeah.
Like he's always said he's not like, but he's a barras though. Like he can
If he wants to.
absolutely.
Bro,
Like,
the man drives a Rolls Royce, like he's doing the right thing.
he knows what he's doing. He's
Like, he's
absolutely
successful, fuck it. If that's the way he's gone there, he can still bar to bar, so
11 million views on his Vivo, sold out nationwide tours, the festival game, he's killing at the moment. So
has he had number 1 before?
he hasn't had a number 1, I don't think.
Has he not?
I don't think he has.
Not even with
Festa.
Festa.
I don't think they got to number
That
1.
was a banger.
Could check the chart position for that, but I don't think he got to number 1. But he's up there in the charts.
What do you mean? Check it. You've done your research, haven't you, bro?
I'm not expecting all these questions. Yeah, but shouts to Lethal Bizzle. You know, absolutely smashing it. And yeah, just shouts to More Fire Crew. Salute them. As I said, this was an absolute tune.
Yeah.
Yo, roll deep on these.
Put these MCs
He's on deep freeze.
These whip these and rip these. Come like Buster, we flip these.
Now this is a beat that's always, for me, associated with the start of grime. I wanted to make sure the beat itself, Creeper, is really associated with
Again,
grime.
I have it on vinyl, white label. Don't watch that. Man's got the gold.
Now, so as I say, the beat itself is crazy. But
Danny Weed. Hold tight, Danny Weed, man.
shouts to Danny Weed, like underrated producer.
I don't know, the guys who know.
Yeah, the
Like,
guys
just
who
the Creeper alone, stupid.
You have to remember as well that this is before Eskimo, this is before Pal, this is before I Love You.
He set up the Roll Deep sound. Danny Weed.
Yeah, he did. He really did. He did set up the Roll Deep sound. This was before Dizzee actually had a body of work, so this was before, as I said, before Boy in the Corner, before all of that. And this really, really opened my eyes to Dizzee, and I used to listen to Sidewinder CDs of him, like Wiley and Dizzee doing Slimsy shows and that kind of stuff, and I knew that there was something happening. I could tell that these guys were something special, and it was either going to be. It's a shame it couldn't have been both that really blew at the same time. But I feel like obviously I haven't got to talk about how sick Wiley has done, but Dizzee really propelled himself into the forefront first.
Dizzee smashed it, man.
He really, really did.
That album played a big part in me listening to that.
We're coming on to that, don't worry.
I thought we might be, bruv.
The fact that Dizzee was able to generate like so much heat with something that's actually never released as a single as well, you have to remember that. It's just a freestyle. It was never really like, pirate
Distinct.
radio.
Again, go back to the sound, like very, you know when it's Dizzee on the track.
Yeah, absolutely. The flow, the
Like,
voice.
who's that? You never say that, ever.
Just iconic lines in this for like the MCs still quote today. That's how you can tell it's timeless. Doing it for Keisha, doing it for Kim, stuff like that. Like Lethal has quoted that on the Rari workout tune. People still quote that. And yeah, on his recent interview as well, like the thing that you have to remember about Dizzee is he was out of the game for a really, really long time, but he can still bar with the best of them. You can see on his Sway 5 Fingers of Death.
That's hard.
The freestyle's mad. Obviously, he starts going into the bars on
YouTube
on
that
this.
if you haven't seen that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
YouTube it. He goes hard on that. And just this beat, how you know it's timeless as well. We recently went to Boardmasters Festival and we went to see Corrupt FM. And when DJ Steves dropped this and Grinder and Beats were going over Creeper, the whole tent was going mad. And it's 2017. You look around, and I remember distinctly looking around and thinking to myself, the people here, they weren't there for the first of it. Like,
I know, but as bad as it sounds like, they probably don't know what that song is.
True, but even if they don't, they
A
were
select
going
few
mad.
probably went mental. When you're seeing people go mental, you're going to go mental. Like, just, again, it goes back to the educational thing. I just don't think people would know what that is.
But what I love about
lot of
that,
people,
but what I love about that is the fact that they probably didn't know what it was, but it was getting them gassed, and you could see how gassed Grinder was getting, and Beats and Steves, and you can see
They would know, obviously.
of course. So they were there. So it's just like, yeah, you know what? It's mad, and you know it is just a freestyle. I really want to move on to something that changed both of our lives. But obviously, just saying that, you know, salute to Danny Weed, salute to the MC on this track. And speaking of the MC on the track, this brings me to my next tune.
I love you, I love you, I love you.
It's hard for me to actually put into words or even write what this album kind of did for me.
It's one of those albums that when a song finishes, in your head you're already like, you'll hum the next part of the next tune coming in.
You know what's coming in.
Like, even if you hear one song off it and it's not from the album, like you're not playing the album, your brain automatically wants to hear that next song that comes straight on.
Absolutely.
Same thing with 2001 by Dr. Dre. It's
Yeah.
that same feeling. Oh, I thought that song was going to come in.
Yeah, well, if you have people that listen to their albums on shuffle, those kind of people, they just want to see the world burn. What are you doing?
It's not there for that. It's there for playlist shuffle. So stop.
This whole album for me is the foundation. You know, if we had to like build a house, like using albums and mixtapes as, you know, building blocks, this album would have to be the foundation of what you're building. Wiley's described it as the Bible. And again, it's a matter of opinion. You're going to get people talking about Home Sweet Home. You've got Ghetto Gospel. You've got all these.
If anyone brought me Home Sweet Home against Boy in the Corner, bruv.
It's there though. It's a matter of
It's
opinion.
there, but it's not there in my eyes.
Building, to use the analogy of building a house of grime, I know you'd have 10 tunnel vision bricks in there, like just holding up the house.
You know what I would have? I would have Boy Better Know Tropical 4.
Oh man, yeah.
It's 4, I think, Tropical, isn't it?
The Boy Better Know mixtapes back in the day, like the Poomplex, Shut Your Mouth ones, absolutely.
Again,
like,
UK
timeless.
record shop. Sorted me out,
Have
bruv.
you got them on vinyl? No. See, that was CD days though.
I've got them, but not on vinyl. Actually, that's a good point. Where the fuck are they? I had them all, man.
As I said, it's a matter of opinion, but just the whole body of work for this. Just please, if you, the thing is, you would have heard individual tracks. You would have heard I Love You. You would have heard of Dizzee Rascal, and you would have heard of Wiley. You would have heard of God's Gift. You would have heard all these MCs. You know, Roll Deep, but if you weren't there at the time and you're a little bit of a younger generation, I would strongly advise to just getting Boy in the Corner on Apple Music and just listening to Boy in the Corner. The tracks on that album are crazy.
If you fuck with what you're hearing now, like your Stormzy's and everything like that, there's no way you won't mess with the Dizzee shit, man. Like, that stuff's so timeless. Like, that could be released again now and be sick again. I know it's very cliche to say, but it could.
It's
easily.
timeless.
Like Jezebel, what a banger!
Absolute banger. You've got there's a song in there with Wiley, Too Far. You've got
You Push Me Too Far.
Yeah,
you are.
That is one of
Super
the rare...
Superstars.
Yeah,
that, innit?
that's the one.
But see what I mean? Like, you just got... I don't think I ever knew the name of that song just because you listen to the album, don't you? You know the track number, like, yeah, play that number. But, yeah, that's mad how you can just reference anything from that album.
It's crazy.
That's called a rinse.
Absolutely. You've got as well, like, just iconic little clips on that album from the little voicemail from the end of Just a Rascal. Like, it's just that tune as well, Just a Rascal.
Got that on vinyl on its own. And you know what? I got Boy in the Corner on vinyl.
Mad.
For the next episode, I'm going to bring them out because people think I'm gassing. I'm literally there behind me in the booth.
You're looking to get robbed, bro.
Yeah, that's what I mean. No location on, don't worry.
I said previously that, like I've said before, that I felt 2004 was the year that grime really started to get, noticed on a larger scale. I do stand by that, but that's what makes.
Did it even have the title grime back then?
It did. I think early on it started.
For me, it was it wasn't. I didn't know the word grime when I was listening to Dizzee's album. I don't know when I realised the name grime. I think when you were more showing me the grime shit, like the clashes and that stuff. That's like year fucking what? 10 years, 10, 11.
Mad.
So 15, 16, 2005, 2006, I think is when I sort of knew the label of grime.
Crazy.
Mad, isn't it?
It is mad to look back on it and just realise as well, like, the music that we heard back then, I feel like we did appreciate it, but I just appreciate it so more that we were there and we were listening to it. And to be honest, moving on to Dizzee, just as an artist, you say what you want about what happened afterwards when he went commercial, or he went to America and Calvin Harris and all this kind of stuff. You can't.
That Calvin Harris song, bro, is a banger. Holiday you're talking about.
That's the one.
That's a banger.
Bonkers as well.
I still like that song when it comes on now.
This kind of stuff, people chat a lot of shit about.
Your port in your bikini. That's
it,
isn't it?
It's a banger. It really is a banger. Like, people say he sold out, he went for pop, blah blah. I'm happy Dizzee's made the amount of money that he has because he deserves it.
I hate that word sold out.
I don't like
hate it.
It's bullshit.
Not word, that saying. It just does my head in, man.
Stick to the fucking truth.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah, straight up. Dizzee also had his new album coming out, Rascal. Now, I've actually listened to a few tracks on that album, but I'm going to sit down and have a run through of that with you, I think, because I want to listen to that album
Review
properly.
That shit.
I would like to review the album, just sit down and go through it, because the only reason he's at a loss already is because people are going to compare it to Boy in the Corner, which is...
That's the problem with releasing such an iconic first album.
But
his other albums haven't been that bad.
He's made tracks, Stand Up Tall, that kind of stuff. He made
Stand
bangers.
Up Tall, yeah.
Bangers. So yeah, I'd love to review that.
Do you know what's a banger by Dizzee? Sirens.
That's a bang. Yeah, that is great
the
video.
Sirens coming.
I think along with the reviews that we're going to be doing, we're going to be dropping, as I say, review episodes, and we're also going to have, specific episodes where, I want to go from talking about, the clashes, like you said early on, Wiley and Lethal and Dizzee and even Dizzee now and Wiley, they're starting to clash a little bit. And if
the Risky Roads days and the Lord of the Mics and all of that shit.
I just hope they make some dub plates. And to be fair, talking of clashing Dizzee Rascal, brings us on to our next MC.
You fancy a song? Alright, get your ears round this.
Yeah. Crazy Titch, yeah? On crazy beat. Okay. My first one. Listen.
There's specific names that you have to mention for me when you're talking about grime, and Crazy Titch for me is up there with one of the most important figures. Talk to me about Crazy.
This does what it says on the tin. Let's be real, the man was nuts.
Yeah, straight up.
But very hype. When I think of him, I think of who was it? Was it Bashi versus Getz? That clash where
Stick to the fucking truth.
Exactly that. That's where it's from, right?
Straight up.
So that when he's just laughing there, bro, and these guys are trying to be like seriously like about to fight.
Yeah.
He's just sitting there going, ha.
You know.
Ha. Just laughing. But yeah, I Can See You was an actual banger. When we talk bangers, that was that was the hypest tune. Like you get fucking, you want to go and stab someone after you listen to it, sort of thing.
Gassed.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that it was recorded on a fucking 3210 or some shit like
Whatever,
that.
yeah.
Whatever, Mikey, that's part of the sound it gave, to be honest. Like, it had to be distorted and shit mix.
Absolutely.
I've got a vinyl Crazy Titch, funnily
enough.
What song is it that I forgot?
Sing along.
No, see, I remember I found it the other day.
I'm like P Diddy, you're like. Is it that one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a banger. I can't even remember what that's called.
I'm like P Diddy, you're like that.
Yeah, that's an absolute banger.
I'm like you're like. I think that's what
It might be called I'm Like. Yeah,
but
I'm Like.
That shit's rare as fuck.
That is.
I'll never get rid of that because obviously he's away for a long time.
Yeah, so I was going to come on to this now. So I just want to talk a little bit about the stuff in the news, and here's where I want to bring in Stormzy. Now, like, I rate Stormzy as well.
I love Stormzy, man.
I want to talk a little bit.
But I fucking love what the dude's doing.
I've got a lot of time.
He's
for
coming
Stormzy,
across. I'm sure he's a nice dude, but he's really marketing himself very well.
He's smashing the game.
Being on Jonathan Ross the other day, like, he's just a nice dude, like very humble. He brought up well. He's just killing it, man.
See, if you listen to him on Not For The Radio, he just talks about how, you know, he knew he could start MCing, and then he was talking about how he's just had people around him, and they were like, "Well, I need a manager, I need a tour, I need a blah blah blah." And
it's just all his man, though, isn't it?
His bedroom was like, "I'll do it," and it's just that's what you can do if you've got the talent and you've got the right people around you.
All these managers are full of shit.
Straight.
I'm speaking from first-hand fucking like knowledge. I've experienced it. All these managers are full of shit.
Straight up.
They go on Google or Wikipedia, they learn the few important names they need to learn to make themselves sound like they know what they're fucking doing, and they sell you dreams.
Straight up.
And nothing happens.
And they don't give you the
when
check.
Something does happen, they fuck you over. Yeah, it's not bitter, but it's fun.
You don't sound it, bruv. The reason why I come on to Stormzy, the reason why I was talking about Stormzy, shout to Stormzy, is because obviously you might have read a little bit about, well, don't worry, on this show we're always going to
Stick to the fucking truth.
But there is a lot of stories in the paper about, because Stormzy had a voice clip of Crazy Titch on his album. So Stormzy then had to go on, I think it might have been LBC or BBC or whoever, and they just come at him with no research and no knowledge of the actual scene and what he meant to the scene and what he probably meant to Stormzy's childhood.
Ignorance.
They just automatically associated him with the prison sentence, and so you've got a convicted criminal on your album. It's like, listen, you have to put yourself in this position. Listen to this, right? So you have to put yourself in this position of you're a youth and you're young and you're listening to grime and you see Crazy Titch. The first time I saw him was one of the first times was when he was clashing Dizzee Rascal and, you know, I'm not a mutt and all that kind of stuff. All that stuff. That. You see, and now Stormzy would have grown up watching that, feeling that, getting Crazy Titch.
Stormzy's our age, right? So I
think he's a little bit younger than us.
Is he?
So he would have been there. He would have
YouTube was there though, so
YouTube was there. And you have to think about growing up listening to Crazy Titch, listening and having it influence your music the way I hear it, you know, on Know Me From, and I hear it when Stormzy spits. You hear a little bit of Titch sometimes, in my opinion.
You just got to remember that song. What is it? Ask Carlos? Is that what it's called?
Exactly.
That's from
that battle.
That's exactly.
And Titch is in that video. You know, Titch is in the video. So Titch has been there through Stormzy's
He knows
childhood.
though, because Shut Up's obviously a old
beat.
Rough Squad beat, isn't it?
It's another thing.
So,
yeah.
I know there's a lot of shit going around about that, but that beat was a ringtone when we were fucking 16. Like, that was on my phone as a ringtone.
Functions on the Low, produced by Ecstasy.
Yeah.
So Rough Squad days as well.
Shout out Rough Squad, man. Guns N' Roses. There's just too much to talk about. I know I can go deep in all this shit. I'm sure we'll cover most of it, but Rough Squad played a big part.
Shouts to Rapid, like we in the studio of Rapid the other day.
Rapid's the dude, man.
He's a good dude, and in my opinion, one of the best grime producers, if not the of all time.
Very humble dude.
Very humble dude.
Got a lot of time for him, man.
And cares about the scene. So Alt Type Rapid, Alt Type Ecstasy, Alt Type Rough Squad. Shouts to Rapid, and shouts to the whole of Rough Squad. I want to be played out by White Label Classics. You'll hear a beat going on at the end of the episode from that. And as I say, like going back to Stormzy, listening to Crazy Titch and having him being an influence on his childhood, and then having the opportunity to be able to get a personal message from Crazy Titch and put that on your album must have meant the world to that guy. And to have it shut down in a second by someone with no fucking knowledge of anything, I'm not.
It just shows you, like, even the old heads and stuff, they know Stormzy's the voice for the scene now.
100%.
Like, hate me for saying it, but bruv, you can't deny it.
100%.
You can't deny it, man. Man's on Jonathan Ross.
Real talk.
I know it's like, Jonathan, but you've made it. If you're on Jonathan Ross, bruv, he's sitting on the couch with what? Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, Vince Vaughn and Bradley Walsh as well.
Come on.
It's crazy. It's crazy. If you Google Crazy Titch, which I wouldn't recommend, I'll just recommend going on YouTube and
agreed.
And
just listen to the music, man. Don't fucking read into the shit.
Stick to the fucking truth.
And I'm not going to get into all that, but what I do want to get into is just talk from. I didn't really research all this kind of stuff. I just want to talk from a personal standpoint for what Crazy Titch meant to me. Like you said about older brothers and stuff. From a personal standpoint, I've got some older cousins, and they weren't really into grime at first. You know, they were just into the hip hop and the American side of stuff. And when they said, "All right, then show me some grime," I'd just go straight to Crazy Titch and I'd play them. You can't not get hyped over that shit. You can't.
Like I said, it makes you want to stab people.
You can't. It gets you so gassed. The lyrics are sick, and one thing I'd say is that you're never really gonna get radio play from. Saying you're lucky you didn't get a slap that time, and you're lucky I didn't have my strap that time, and that, what I mean. That kind of stuff you're not gonna get on the radio, but it wasn't important to Crazy. He's just talking from a personal standpoint of what his life was about.
There's definitely screws loose there.
Okay,
but that's what makes him him.
I don't care. Like, I'm happy. Like, exactly. I would rather have Crazy Titch in the world than not. And I know it might have resulted in a life loss, etc. But like, if I'm just sticking to the stuff that I know and the love that I have for his music, don't need to love the love that I have for his body of work that he did will never go away from me.
Yeah.
And seeing him as a youngster on risky roads, showing videos of him doing madness, like you can see it on YouTube. I don't need to get into it, but it's just he's mad.
Oh, well, like getting thrown off the plane and that.
Yeah, crazy times.
It.
Crazy times.
I've still got that somewhere as well.
It's all on YouTube. Man. It's all on YouTube. So it was an absolute, like, he was so such an important part for the scene for me. One of my earliest memories, I don't know if you remember this, was I remember there was like a conference thing going on. And it was like Lethal was on the stage, Crazy was on the stage, there were a lot of MCs up on the stage. It was on Channel U, and they were talking about their early kind of memories.
Channel
of
U,
grime.
you got to explain what that was, bruv.
Do you know what? Sorry, yeah. Channel A, I think it's Channel AKA now. Like old type Channel AKA, man. Like,
I don't know why they changed it, man.
I don't know, I think it might have been new owners or something like that.
Yeah, but don't change a legendary fucking name.
I know. I think one of the founders actually passed away recently. Lethal Bizzle was talking about
that. That put a lot of people on that fucking channel.
It really did so much for the scene. Like, it really, really did. And growing up with that, seeing all the videos, I Can See You, I associated with that channel. It's one of the first videos I remember seeing. The grainy, do you know what I mean, in his tracksuit standing on top of the car, Mr. Wong in the video.
Mr. Wong.
Shouts to Mr. Wong. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's honestly one of the earliest memories for me was I Can See You. And obviously I mentioned it slightly, but the video of him and Dizzee just on the rooftop there.
Mad.
Absolutely mad. Talking about Crazy, there's another tune as well, Sing Along, which will be featured in another upcoming episode.
Sick beat.
Absolute staple of grime, that tune. And as we mentioned before, if you just have a YouTube session of Crazy Titch just to educate yourself, as I said.
Just get lost on there, man. Just go in.
Just get deep, get some memories back.
See every fucking angle of him.
Absolutely. You'll get all the emotions, all the range from him. And yeah, just an absolute...
we could dedicate a whole fucking show to Crazy, to be honest with you, bro.
We really, really could. We can spend hours talking about
it. Very slept on.
But we're thankful to have him like in the scene. Obviously, he's been maybe putting in some work behind bars and that kind of stuff. So I'd love to hear some more stuff from Crazy Titch. But salute Crazy Titch, man, and yeah, salute the music he made. Cool. So what I want to do, 27, is I'm just going to play you some things that I don't think you would have heard.
I think I ain't heard, bro.
I just want to get your opinion on them. And the first MC is a guy called Berna, Berna.
Berna. Because there's an American rapper called Burner.
Okay, cool.
Who makes don't think he makes weed. I think he does have his own weed, actually, yeah.
Alright, okay.
He's a proper Bay Area rapper.
He loves the American stuff, innit?
Yeah.
From they. So Burner is an MC who's quite fresh on the scene. You can check out his, obviously check him out on his Fire in the Booth, which I'm about to play. And just to get a reaction from Phil and see what we're saying. Let's play this.
I get it popping because I'm popping, I'm a trending topic. They put my life inside the news, now everybody's watching. Played it on the big screen, mommy she could barely watch it. Shopaholic, had me on the net trying to find a coffin, put it in my basket. Nightmares, dreaming about my brother in a casket. Hungry for some blood but I restrain like I'm fasting. Thinking about the past, but the past I can't get past it. I see these niggas laughing, trying to ball like I'm Griffin, so I won't hesitate to cut a nigga off like the Clippers. Might just ditch him
So that's Burner, man. Now what are you saying about Burner?
Punch, man. He's got some punchlines.
If you watch the whole Fire in the Booth, the punchlines are crazy.
I want to watch the whole thing.
Do you want to watch the whole thing?
Not right now, but I'm going to watch after this. I'll watch the whole thing.
It's mad.
I love a punchline rapper, bruv.
See,
he's more rap than grime to me.
100%.
Yeah. And that beat, I remember that beat's been around for fucking years, bruv.
The punchlines are sick from the basketball punchline that he does with the Clippers and that kind of stuff.
And about the gun, but leave Burner in a ditch. Oh, shut up.
Yeah, it's mad. It's mad. So yeah, I was introduced by Burner by a friend, and I've been listening to a lot of his stuff. To shout to Burner, he's
you were right, by the way. I haven't heard of him.
There you go. See,
it, yeah.
I told you that. Another MC to quickly I want to discuss is Lights. We as I mentioned before, we went to Link Rapid, and he showed us a little young MC. He played us a track first, and obviously you can hear it's a young MC. You can tell by the voice and that kind of stuff. The flow was mad. So after that session, I got back and just did a bit of research on Lights. Really young and up and coming MC. Like I think he's like 13, 14, something like that.
Man. I've heard a lot of him because I've got Rapid on my Snap and that, and he's behind him a lot, man. Yeah,
the flow is just reminds me of old school grime. I'm loving
confident little guy as well, man.
Yeah, man. Really,
see him
really
on stage and that nothing phases him.
To be honest, if you've got support from Rapid, Slicks, you've got
they're
people like
nurturing
that.
him, innit?
Yeah, they could put in their arm around him, and you want to kind of try and nurture young talent, and that's what Rough Squad are really trying to do at the moment. You probably haven't heard a lot of stuff from Rough Squad recently, but obviously they're just trying to. Rapid really cares about the scene, which is why I love to do.
Does a lot of youth work, man.
And that's what's really, really important. It's about nurturing the next generation and making sure that
it keeps it alive at the end of the day, bro.
Exactly.
People can focus on their own fucking lane and path and that, but then when their path ends, the next fucking people have to take over.
Real talk.
And that's what I respect what they're doing, man.
Real talk.
I don't think they've had their time, but they've had their
they've left their mark.
They've left their mark, so to speak.
We can play a little bit of Lights.
Yeah.
I do not care about who you told, but no, we are not dogs. War in me, no walking apart. You can run, but trust me, you won't go far.
So shouts to Lights. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the Dot Rotten P Money beef. A little bit. Me and you have spoken just a lot about it.
We had our session watching all the vids and all of that.
Just going back, I mean, I want to talk about P Money first of all. I'm a bit biased in this. I do think P Money is the greatest UK MC of all time. I'm just going to put that out there. I think that
you're allowed that opinion, though.
He's as I say, one of the best. His flow is the best. He's just a barrers. You never hear P Money. I mean, if Wiley's making a track about you, that's what more do you actually need? What kind of proof do you actually need there that he's sick? And Dot can spit though. You've been a Dot Rotten fan from day.
I have, because production-wise as well, he was a big part of. I thought he brought a new angle to grime, like the beats and stuff. Like he slowed it down a bit. Like he didn't set 140 BPM. He wasn't always like that. But yeah, man, I've been a Dot fan from day.
I do think though that I do think P Money killed him. I think P Money bodied him.
I agree, he did.
That's my opinion.
Lyrically, bruv, there's no question.
I think
Dot came hard as well, but
yeah.
It's like when you just like stop kicking him, he's already dead. It's like one of them. It's like, just stop. It's like when the dude keeps getting up. It's like, just stay down, bruv. Like one of those.
It did get bad towards the end. Like, to be honest, the one thing I wanted to mention that a lot of people haven't actually mentioned, one thing I did notice, and it's just me noticing this, it could be, you can watch the videos again, but what was really impressive about the way they did this clash, the way they kept sending the dub plates back, was the way that they quickly got the beat, quickly recorded the track, and did the video, man. All in the space
Literally
of.
Mad. But the lyrical detail,
crazy,
mental.
The thing as well though is that Dots, this is just my opinion, Dots in the video, you can see P Money's emceeing to the video, you know, to the screen. Dots a lot of the time has his hand over his mouth, you know, he does have it.
Yeah.
And I was thinking,
I think physically, lyrically, in every sort of way, P bodies him.
He bodies him.
I guess he can make better beats than me, Money, but
I was thinking, is he doing that? Has he got his hand over his mouth there because he doesn't he can't remember all of the lyrics to it, or that, you know?
It might be that.
It could be. That's what I was thinking.
Turnaround, like you said. So.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I think.
Either way, bruv. I think stuff like that, it just does the scene favours.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. It's good for the scene.
I'm sure some clashes have been. Marketing anyway, so
100%. Well, P Money said in a video that, you know, he was just having a good time. Like, it wasn't although he did run up on Dot Rotten apparently. He just said that it's just about the music for him. He said that he was really enjoying it, which I loved. I didn't really hear a lot from Dots during the whole thing, but P Money was doing interviews saying, yeah, it's good for the scene. He's happy to actually clash. He's happy to, you know, bring that kind of heat back to the clashing scene. P Money's been consistent with clashing. If you talk about from Big H, always clashing. Like, even if you want to go further back to that, when he clashed at Essentials, you know, and Little D clashing as well, that kind of stuff. So the P Money's been big in the game. So shouts to P Money for that clash, and shouts to Dot Rotten as well. It was a mad clash. Yeah, I mean, the final thing that I kind of wanted to move on for is the way to end the podcast. Obviously, we'll play out a bit of a Roscoe beat just to play us out as well. But I wanted to talk a little bit about Major Ace from Pay As You Go, who passed away recently.
Yeah.
You know, just set so many, like, he was a revolutionary really. If you think about it, we spoke about Pay As You Go and Heartless and So Solid at the beginning.
Just a little moment to sort of pay respect, isn't it?
Absolutely,
right.
Yeah, man.
Did a lot for the scene, did a lot for the culture, and you know, we had MCs on their Instas and Snaps and wherever. You had just everybody paying homage to somebody who left such a big mark on the scene. One thing I would really, really strongly recommend watching is going on YouTube and watching the 60-minute takeover of Pay As You Go, Heartless and So Solid. Yeah,
you've got
Down One Extra.
Yeah, Mr. Jam. So you've got Major Ace on that, laying down a sick flow. There's so many sick MCs in that. General Levy's in that video. Sweetie Irie from the Gorillaz, that Gorillaz tune that he did. Mad. So yeah, I'd strongly recommend watching that. Mad. Thanks for listening. As I said, it's the first episode.
I enjoyed it, man.
Yeah, man. Like I said, we're going to be doing this on a weekly basis now. TSOG.
We'll get better at it. Don't worry.
Don't worry about that. TSOG podcast all day. Check out the Twitter. Check out the YouTube. Check out the Insta. Everything. Yeah, man.
If you're into beat making as well, make sure you check out my channel. Just type in 27, bruv.
Shouts to 27.
Not 27, bruv. 27.
The words 2 and
Enter.
then 7. Yeah, type 27, bruv. See what
And then
comes up.
just check out my shit. I do random shit on there as well.
Real talk. Follow the vlogs. Follow everything.
Everything at It's 27.
But